And now let's discuss the biggest economic crisis in India's neighborhood, Sri Lanka. Gotabaya Rajapaksa left Sri Lanka 24 hours back. Sources say his resignation has finally reached the Speaker. The Speaker's office says they will, quote-unquote, verify the authenticity of the letter. An announcement is expected tomorrow. Rajapaksa is no longer on the job, but he's still enjoying all the perks of being president. He's traveling around Asia in first class. Today he left the Maldives and landed in Singapore. No military jet this time. Rajapaksa flew on a Saudi airline flight SV788. We know more about this flight than what Rajapaksa is up to. And the reason is this. It was the most tracked flight in the world today. Can you believe it? As many as 5,000 users were watching every turn of the plane, the route the pilot took, and how the plane touched down, all of it. 5,000 people were tracking every move of this flight. Talk about reality TV. But like I said before, those watching this plane got little insight into Rajapaksa's intentions. We don't know what his next move is going to be. Earlier it was reported that he will seek asylum in Singapore, but that's not happening. Today Singapore rejected those reports. And I have that statement with me. This is from Singapore's Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and I'm quoting, "It is confirmed that Mr. Rajapaksa has been allowed entry into Singapore on a private visit. He has not asked for asylum and neither has he been granted any asylum. Singapore generally does not grant requests for asylum." This is their foreign ministry of Singapore. So no asylum in Singapore. Where is Rajapaksa going then? There is a new report. An unnamed Maldivian official has said that he will go to Riyadh. Gotabaya Rajapaksa will go to Riyadh. So will Saudi Arabia be his final destination? Well, it's hard to say. What's clear is the fact that Gotabaya Rajapaksa is on the run. He wants asylum. Why did he delay submitting his resignation? Because as president, he still enjoyed some powers, and most importantly, he enjoyed immunity from prosecution. Had he stepped down before leaving Sri Lanka, he could have been arrested. This is what he was trying to avoid. So he wanted to make sure that he is safe before he formally gives up the post. What about his brother, Mahinda Rajapaksa, the original strongman of Sri Lanka? How's he faring? Reports say that he has no plans to leave. Apparently, he's unhappy with Gotabaya. A top aide of Mahinda Rajapaksa has spoken out. An international news outlet has published this. His name has not been revealed, but this aide claims that there is a rift between Mahinda and Gotabaya. And I have some of those statements. Listen to this. "It was because of Mahinda that Gotabaya came to power, but once elected, the Prime Minister was sidelined by his own brother. Until the last moment, Gotabaya Rajapaksa did not know how to govern, but he never listened to Mahinda's advice." Sounds like Mahinda Rajapaksa wants to chart his future alone. Is he staying in Sri Lanka to save the Rajapaksa dynasty? Well, that's a possibility. Here's another report that came out earlier this week. It says Mahinda is grooming his son Namal to take over. So the Rajapaksas are already thinking about a comeback. But given the situation on the ground, is it even possible? Hasn't Sri Lanka's economic crisis completely destroyed this dynasty? And is this distancing just convenient politics? You know, faced with the heat, Gotabaya sacked Mahinda a few months back. And now that Gotabaya is on the run, Mahinda's team is denouncing him. It tells you how unsparing politics can be. But coming back to the question, can the Rajapaksas still hope for a comeback? They were elected with a thumping majority a couple of years back. Now they've been forced out. The people of Sri Lanka say the Rajapaksas have no legitimacy. So any thought of a comeback right now is delusional. The situation in Colombo remains tense. The military is out on the streets. They're trying to restore order. Sri Lankan soldiers were seen outside the parliament today. What about the protesters? After 5 days of mayhem, they have started to leave government buildings, but this should not be considered as a retreat, they say. The protesters intend to remain on the streets. They're demanding a complete overhaul of the government. So who will lead Sri Lanka now? The parliament is expected to meet soon. The lawmakers will name a new leader, and the people are waiting to make their next move. This is a continuing story. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.